Welcome to another edition of Tasker 101 Tutorials. This is lesson number 24, and today we're going to be talking about creating a task in a scene that serves as a pop-up when you get a text message. I'm going to show you how it works on my phone. Actually, before I do that, I got to turn the profile on, so I turned it off. There we go. Turn it on so it'll work, and then I'll turn it off so that we can create our own. So, hello, and wait for that text to come through, and when it does, you will see what it is we're going to be doing.
Eric, Google is texting you.
And so, there you go. This is a pop-up. It has the name of the person who's texting me. It has the message. It has their photo, contact photo if there is one, as well as buttons to allow me to do something. So, we're going to create that same thing in Tasker for all of you. First, I want to turn these off on my Tasker list and go to the school, and we're going to start with scenes. We're going to create the scene first, and then we'll create the profile and task that we want to happen to load that scene up. So let's start by clicking the plus button. New scene 101, text pop up, and we're going to make this the size shape we want it, something like that. Looks about good for me. You can do it however you want to do it. And let's see, let's go to menu and go to properties. I want it to be I'm going to leave it as a dialog, orientation, whatever the system is, but the background color I do want to change. I want it to be dark, so I'm going to make it black gray. That'll work for me. There's nothing that we're going to do under keys for this particular task. So there you go, there's your background, and now I hit the little magnifying glass and that turns it into a grid so we can add stuff to it. We're going to long press. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add a text box. So we're going to choose text, and we're going to make this texture name. You don't have to change the name. You can always leave it the default if you want to. It would just be like text 1, text 2, text 3. But it's easier for you if you name it something specific. And then under that text, we want that to be the name of the person who just sent us a text. So you could type in the variable, or you can hit the variable icon and scroll down to it. Text from name. So we'll click that, and there we go, right there. Size that we want it to be. I'm going to say maybe 24. Color, I want it to be sort of a blue, bright blue. It'll be easy to read. Alright. Center position, plain text, and that'll be that for me. If you wanted to change the background, you could change the background of that, but I'm going to leave it like it is. Go back, and then you'll see it. So now I'm going to reposition that to where I want it to be. You want to make sure you have enough room for whatever the name is, however long the name is. So if you think that's not enough, you could make the text smaller or make the box bigger. But I think that should be enough for most people. Next, I'm going to long press. You could also just hit the add button. And then I'm going to select text again. So we're going to have another text box. This is going to be text message. And then once again, for this, I'm going to click the variable button and scroll down to text body. So that's the body of the text, what the text says. I'm going to make this size 19. Color-wise, it's already white, and that's what I want it to be, so I'm going to leave it at that. And that's about it. Again, you could change the background color if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that, but what I am going to do is I'm going to add a task under tap. So when I want to be able to tap the body of the text and have it make the box disappear. So I'm going to click plus. And let's see, this may not be in here yet. We'll see. I'm going to say destroy scene. And yeah, it is in there. Usually when you're working inside of a scene, it will automatically assume that's what you want to destroy. And it is, so we'll leave it like it is. And then we'll go back. And you see, because those variables are variables that will always hold information, so they're always going to hold the last information they received. So we can make this box pretty big so it can hold all of the text information, or as much of it as possible. Now I'm having a hard time dragging, getting that to go to the side, so remember, if you hit the little finger button down there, I can choose resize, and then I can use the arrows to make it as big as it can be, and then go back to normal. So it's a big box, will hold a lot of text. Although, now that I'm looking at that, I probably need to bring this down some in order to have room for the picture that I want to have there. So I can maybe come down here, maybe make that, I think that's probably good. I don't have room for my buttons too, so we'll leave it there. That'll hold quite a bit of text. And then next we're going to add the image. So I'm going to long press, and then I'm going to choose image. And then I'm just going to leave this image 1. It's the only image on the scene, so I'm not too worried about it. And I'm going to press image, and I'm going to choose built-in icon. And I'm going to choose question mark. The reason I'm doing that is in case I receive a text from someone who's not in my contacts or doesn't have a photo, it'll just automatically display the question mark. And it'll only display someone's picture if there is actually a picture. If you wanted to, you could have a tap action for the photo as well, but I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to put that in the corner there. And then I'm going to add a couple of buttons. I'm going to add one here. And I'm actually going to choose button. I'm going to leave it just called button 1 because that works for me. And then under tap, I'm going to give it an action. Or actually, I'm sorry, go back. I want to give it a name of what I want the button to say on there. You could also choose an icon for the button if you want to. I'm not going to choose an icon, but I'm going to have it, I'm going to call this button reply. And then you could change also the label color. Yeah, right now it's black. I don't want it to be black. I want it to be, let's just pick some random color. How about some bright green color? That'll work. And then for tap, I'm going to add an action there. And I'm going to go phone, compose, SMS. And then the number, I'm going to use a variable. So I'm going to hit variable. I'm going to go down here again. To text from. So this isn't text from name, this is just text from, so this is the number. So we'll be composing a text message to that number. I'm not going to put a message in there because that obviously we don't have. I don't want a stock message for this. I want a I want a message that I want to put in there. So I'm going to leave that blank. And that's it for that button. And now I'm going to move this button over here. There we go. It's like my finger doesn't want to tap right. Now that's very tiny. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. Let's increase the label size. 22. See how that looks. Alright, you can read that pretty well. Now we're going to add another button. Just leave that button number 2. I'm going to say reply. Oops. Reply voice. And you'll see why I'm going to do that in a minute. I'm going to up this to 22 as well. If I were being particular about this, I would have copied the color from the other one and pasted it here so they were exactly the same. But you can go back and do that. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Now under this, we're going to go tap. And then I'm going to add a task. I'm going to choose plugin. I'm going to choose a plugin auto shortcut. If you don't already have this installed on your device, you can download it from the Play Store. There's a free version and a paid version. I just have a paid version, so auto shortcut. And what it allows us to do is to launch any Android shortcut from within Tasker. So we need to configure that. So you hit the little edit button, and it's going to bring up the list of possible shortcuts within Android. And I have Nova Launcher installed, and with Nova Launcher installed you have access to Android activities. So I'm going to choose activities, and if you don't have Nova Launcher you can install it and then you'll get access to this as well. Hopefully my battery does not run dead before I finish this tutorial. And let's see, it's got all activities. I'm going to scroll down to Google search, which is somewhere down here. There we go, Google search. And I'm going to go down to the activity, voice search activity. And I'm going to choose that. This is just an ad from Auto Cut if you don't have the paid version. And so Google search, voice search. And we're going to go back there and go back. So now we have this button. I'm going to make this button match the first button. My fingers are not working, so I'll hit resize. And there we go. There. Alright, so now we have that set up. And that's pretty much it for our scene. If you click the little magnifying glass, you can see exactly what it will look like when it shows up on your screen. You've got the name, you've got the picture, you've got your two buttons, as well as the text in the center. So that's our scene. Now we need to create the profile to trigger it. If we go into our profiles, we do have somewhere we have one we created before, say text, so we could use that, but I'll just start from scratch. We'll call this 101 SMS pop. And what is going to be our trigger? Our trigger is going to be event phone received text. Type any. If someone sends you an MMS, obviously the scene we created isn't going to show that because it's just made to show the text. But the pop-up will still pop up to show you who it's coming from, so I'll leave that. Sender, again, you could choose a single contact you wanted this to happen for, favorite contacts, or any contact. We're going to say any. And then content, if you wanted it content specific, which we don't. So, and actually I'm going to delete that altogether, because that would be if we wanted it to be any of our contacts. I want this to happen even if it's someone who isn't in my contact list. I want the pop-up to happen. So that's going to be the trigger. And then for task, I'm going to choose new task. I'm going to choose 101 pop text. And so for our task, there's just a couple things we need to do. The first and most obvious one is we need to tell it to display that scene. We're going to go scene. We're going to say show scene. We're going to hit our little search button and pick the one that we just created, which is 101 text pop-up. We're going to display it as a dialog, which means it just shows up. If you hit the return button, it'll disappear. It's just a dialog box. It's not like something that's going to take up the whole screen or anything like that. So just a dialog. Position, we would just want it to be right in the center, but you could change that if you wanted it to be more towards the top of your screen or towards the bottom of your screen, towards the left or towards the right. I'm just going to have you right in the center. Show exit button. We did create a way to destroy the scene, but I'm going to leave show exit button on there because it's always good to leave it on there in the beginning till you know it works the way you want it to work. And continue task immediately. And so that's all we're going to do for that. Our second task, we're going to test a variable for the picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, it's actually not in here. I think it's under task. Nope. Here, just go filter and look it up that way. There we go. So we're going to choose test. And then we're going to say under type, going to say contact photo URI. And then under data, we're going to, I'm sorry, I did not mean to hit that. What I meant to hit was that, the variable button, and then go down once again to your text message stuff. And we're going to go to text message. Is that the right one? Yes. Text message from SMSRF. So text message is received from. It's going to test the photo URI. And then we're going to store the result in a new variable that we're going to call con photo, which is short for contact photo. And then continue task after error. So if there is an error with this, it won't affect our scene. We want to just keep doing, even if the photo doesn't work, we want to still be able to see the text message and who it's from and all that good stuff. So continue task after error and go back. And then we're going to go to element image. So we're going to go to scene, element image right here, scene name. We're going to pick same scene 101 text pop-up, and then we're going to go to element image 1. Remember, we didn't change the name of it. If we had, we'd want to make sure it was that name, but we left it image 1. And then under image, we're going to change that. Remember, if you hit the little switch over button, it switches it over to variable. And we're going to use the variable that we just created, which may or may not be in this text list. Let's see. Yep, there it is right there, con photo. So we're going to select that. And that's it. We're done. Go back. And go back. And so you see, when we receive any text, it triggers this task. This task shows the scene. It immediately tests the photo and changes the image in the scene to that contact photo. If there is one. If there isn't one, then it won't do it. So now that we got that, we got this on, we can go out of here and let's give it a test. So we're going to send that message. We'll go back to the home screen.
Yes. There was an ambient noise error.
And you can see it popped up. This is what we just created. It's got the name of the texture, the photo of the texture, the message, and then options. Now let's see what happens if we hit reply. We made it so that it opens right up to that person for us to send them a message. That's going to be gone. I want to show you what that other button did that we created with activities for Google Voice. So it popped up. So if we hit reply voice, that initiates Google Voice, is what we set it up to do. So it'll do this. Send a text to Google Voice. So basically it allows you to send...
What's the message?
Hello, comma, what are you doing, question mark.
Here's your text. Do you want to send it?
Yes.
Sending message.
So I hadn't set that up yet, so that's why I did that. It's not just updated Google Voice, and Google Voice texting just got a whole lot better, as you could probably see. So anyway, that's why we created that button. That button allows us to initiate. By hitting that, it opens Google Voice, automatically listening, so we can just say text and then the name of the person and give the message, and Google Voice will handle it. So anyway, that is the end of lesson 24. Hopefully you found that lesson useful. This is something that I use a lot. There are some apps on the App Store that kind of do this, but I couldn't find one that allowed me to customize like how I wanted to reply and stuff, like these buttons down here. Also, we set it up, I didn't show you this, but so that if you tap the message, that destroys the scene and makes it go away, which is a way to just dismiss it, basically. And that's we set that up as well. So that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I do my best to answer as time allows. Any comments, anything else, just throw it down there. If you have any ideas of things you'd like to see in future lessons, you can send those my way as well. Check out all my Tasker tutorials if you're not doing them in order. Maybe you just stumbled upon this one. You should check out all the other ones. Remember, these are just, I show you something like this, and then you can take this and run with it. Think of other things to do with it or other applications you could use some of this stuff for. Especially something like this where we really got into a lot of cool stuff you can do with scenes. And check out my other playlist. I've got Android app tutorials. Not tutorials, reviews, over 150 of those. You can check out some of the best apps available for Android, as well as product reviews and just a lot of other cool stuff. Anyway, that is it until next time, so have fun with Tasker.